Howdy folks, the old pod. Well, apologies for the jaunty camera work, but I'm on my phone and I didn't come out with the intention of making a video today, but I'm in such a beautiful place I figured I would do. Must try and avoid dropping my camera, my phone in the river below me. Well, it's a beautiful early summer day. I should have been up to my girlfriend's today, but I went out to visit a client yesterday, and my car started making some horrible noises. Oh, sorry, let's try and get you where you can see me because I'm so pretty. So I've had to drop my car into the garage and get those fixed. And my cupboards were empty, so I needed to walk into the village nearest to me, which is a couple of miles away, because where I live is, well, it's out in the sticks. So my nearest shops are a couple of miles across the fields. And it's such a beautiful day, I figured I'd take you with me. Well, I'm actually on my way back from there now. And what I'll probably do is cut this video into a couple of pieces, but save my arm from being outstretched all the time. So I'm smoking in the Peterson 302. Some, oh, what is it now? Oh yeah, it's the notorious Ogden's mixture. That mixture I did an awful review of a little while ago, the mixture of St. Bruno and Gold Block, and it's improved a little bit with age. It's been in the jar a month or two now maybe, and it's definitely improved. I mean, I'm still not going to rave about it though, because frankly I still think it's a waste of good St. Bruno, but I've got 4 ounces of the stuff, so I might as well smoke it, you know. And it has mellowed. It has mellowed a bit. The awful Gold Block is not quite so bitey. I mean, I would call this a codger blend. I can see why, you know, if you didn't have a huge amount of money back in the day, you'd mix the two together, two very, very common and easily available tobaccos together to make something a little bit more interesting and a bit more long lasting. But yeah, I mean, it doesn't really float my boat. It's purely functional tobacco. But the bit that I'm walking through at the moment, it's all really just dairy field. So I'm going to hang this up for a moment and pick up the video again in a flash. Yeah, so fortunately from where I live, kind of pretty much follow this lovely little river, sort of hidden by these trees here, and just hope I don't fall in. There's this lovely little river here that you kind of follow pretty much all the way down to the village of Coleyton. I don't know the name of the river, but I'm assuming it's the River Coley, because the name Coleyton, if there's a T-O-N, on the end of something like Colyton. Generally means a small town on a hill or a village on a hill. And that's what Colyton is, my nearest village. So it's on a small hill just on this river. And then a little bit further down, you've got Coley Ford. And obviously that's Ford, where the river is forded. So I would imagine, an educated guess, this river is the Coley. And it's interesting actually because I bought a few crayfish traps, and I had my eye on putting a few traps in this river to catch some crayfish, which I expect are very prolific in here. But I strongly suspect that it would be illegal to do so, because I think there are otters in this river. And in this country anyway, in England, otters are a protected species, and you can't go putting crayfish traps around where there are otters, because the otters can get caught in them, that sort of thing. But an old friend here, this is the Hemlock water dropwort, Onyanthi crocata. Did a video about this a few years ago. It's one of our most poisonous plants, if not the most poisonous plant. Always grows where the ground is damp. Very, very prolific around here. But I love the stuff. I think it's great. I love knowing that, you know, there's this beautiful dichotomy, especially in the same plant family, the Apiaceae, between those plants that you can use as food and those that will kill you. And the differences between the two of them can be very, very subtle. People often mistake, especially this time of year, I see on all the foraging forums, people always saying, oh, is this wild carrot or wild celery? And everyone's saying, no, don't eat it, it's deadly poisonous. But you know, Darwinism and all that. So yeah, very sort of typical pastoral English scene, English country scene. It's really nice to just get out and have a wander with a purpose, you know, to go and get shopping. Something as mundane as that, rather than just jumping in the car and driving down to the local supermarket. I've been forced to walk the couple of miles into the village to go to the local shop and get a few bits and bobs, yeah, and just take this beautiful route to do it. Can't complain really. Oh, hello. Now there's an interesting plant, if I can get to it. Oh no, forget about it, it's not what I thought it was. That is an invasive Himalayan balsam. From a distance there I thought it was something I will like to talk about if I come across a specimen. Oh, beautiful, just the sounds of the rivers. Potentially nice little swimming hole there. It's been very dry the last couple of days, so I'm really glad this is still in spate. Oh, and it's not exactly in spate. Another really interesting thing that I'm quite pleased about is looking, and this, if you're not into ecology, this will bore you. But what I'm looking at really in there is the fact that the stream has got a gravel bed. And that's really, really important for fish, particularly for spawning grounds, and invertebrates, the things obviously that the fish will feed on. It's interesting because it's actually not as common as you'd think it would be. The reason being farming and agricultural practices, especially when you're ploughing up the land, all of that sediment, that topsoil, gets washed off into these watercourses, into these rivers, and and basically they just get covered in sediment. So all of those little nooks and crevices and things like that in the stony pebble bed of the river get covered up, and that completely totally ruin the ecology of a freshwater stream or a freshwater body. So it's really nice to be wandering along here and just see that gravel bed. But again, it makes me think of crayfish and food. So yeah, I mean, I'm really happy for the quality of the river, but yeah, it's unfortunate that I don't think I will actually be fishing for crayfish in here after all, as I'd originally planned. So the crayfish that we get in this country, typical, are the North American signal crayfish, which is an invasive species. And they've not only outcompeted, but they carry a fungal disease that kills the native white claw crayfish. So you have to fish for the North American signals, you have to apply for a license, and you have to be able to distinguish between the two different kinds of crayfish. And basically the Environment Agency, excuse me while I get over this stile. Ooh. That there is a stile for our American friends, very common in the countryside here. But basically, yeah, you have to apply for this license from the Environment Agency, be able to distinguish between the different kinds of crayfish, because they don't want you catching the wrong ones. And they also won't grant you that license unless you're in an area where there are no otters. But this is really interesting as well. I saw this in the in the Brazilian rainforest in macrocosm, and this is kind of like a microcosm of the same thing. It's like a little oxbow lake. You get them in the rainforest where the watercourse goes one way, but then at some point during the wet seasons in the rainforest, or you know, pretty much any season in this country, the water table rises and floods, and you kind of get this oxbow in the river. And then when the water level drops in the drier season, this kind of leaves a bit of a lake, and this is just like one of those but in miniature. Brilliant. Oh yeah. Let's just take a walk down to the river's edge here. Well, it's nice to actually get you outside, do a video from outside for a change, not inside my flat. I'm heading that way because I live about another 3/4 of a mile in that direction. So no particular subject on this video, just thought it would make a nice change. I think I might have killed that. Anyway, probably waffled on long enough. My next video, hopefully, will be a yabbo to Simon, Ariège pipe smoker, because I won his giveaway, which is awesome. I never win anything. Yeah, I thought my next video would be a yabbo from him, but as I'm out today, it's this one. And I'll bring you the yabbo when his package arrives from France. In the meantime, you folks take care, and yeah, go out and enjoy the weather. Bye bye.